For the Capstone project, I will be the interviewer and interviewee. So the first question is tell us your name and tell us about your project. I'll be using note cards with questions. My name is Michael Stoltz, and the project is about finding the velocity of the speed of light. In 1676, everyone thought that the speed of light was too fast to measure, and so did I. In most discoveries by scientists, they discover something that they didn't expect to discover, so that's kind of one of these scenarios as far as calculating the speed of light. For the second question, it's what are you guys trying to do or find? Nothing on the back. At the time, the speed of light was not even on our minds. Ole Romer and myself were doing some of Galileo's work. We were trying to find more research about it. Galileo was trying to determine if Jupiter's moon compared to the Earth could help tell us a time interval, kind of like a clock in the sky. The idea was to help navigators, map makers, and anyone determine the time by their longitude. While on this project, we made meticulous recordings. And by what I mean is Io's orbit around Jupiter, which was the key to the new discovery. We found that it would be sometimes late or early compared to the predictions that it should have been. So over the past few years, we discovered that the interval between successive ellipses for Io became shorter as Earth moved closer to Jupiter, or farther if Earth was farther away. So that being said, we knew that then the speed of light had to affect that because the readings were off and they weren't what was predicted. We then used the equation d equals RT to find the speed of light, where d is the diameter of Earth's orbit, t is the time it takes to travel for the light to travel the distance, and r is the speed of light. That's basically what we were trying to figure out. So once we found out that, light has to have a speed we used from Galileo's research, we went ahead and tried to calculate where the Earth would be the farthest and where the Earth would be the closest to give us a good time period. Number 3 is where did the project or experiment occur? So Romer, after he graduated college, he went to France and tutored the King of France's son. After he was done with that, he went to, the Paris Observatory. That's where I was working as a college student, and it's where he discovered the speed of light. Question 4. What other significant events were happening around the world at that time? So there were many things going around the world at that time. One of the main things that caught my attention was in 1676, it was the first war between American colonists and Indians to end in New England. That was the main thing. So we were just getting over there, and it was great. Okay. Another interesting one was the battle, specifically the Battle of Lund, which was a Swedish army of 8,000, and they defeated a much larger Dutch force of 13,000 men. They were outnumbered by 5,000 men and still overcame the battle. That's really interesting to me, and I would love to read up on it. Also, 1676 was a leap year. I thought that was really cool. Just those minor things that were happening that year. Okay, so question number 5 is who else was involved in the project? Okay, so to my knowledge, it was anyone working in the laboratory would be involved in the project. It wasn't any specific names, just our colleagues. Romer didn't have much help in discovering the speed of light, but I would say that he received help by people such as Isaac Newton, and later on he received a lot of help from James Bradley. They helped support the theory of the speed of light because at first the Paris Observatory would not fully believe what he found. And it wasn't until 5 decades later, Romer's death, that the speed of light was accurately calculated by James Bradley, the one who would later prove that he was right. and he calculated it to be 185 miles per second, which is accurate to about 1%. As far as the video, it's just myself working on this. I don't have anyone else. Question number 6 is, what is your role in the project? So that was kind of, I didn't have a huge role considering I was a college student. My role in Romer's project was to find the speed of light. All I got to do was read the clock, which was a little hard. The clock of the year was a pendulum clock. So it was a little inaccurate, I want to say, which is why we were a little off on the measurement of the speed of light. Question number 7. What did your project have to do on the physics community? Sorry. What impact did your project have on the physics community? So the speed of light had a huge impact on the physics community, not just because we knew how fast the light was traveling, but we could also use the measurement to find many more discoveries, like the Doppler effect. Also, another one that was really cool that the speed of light was used for is the energy of photon, the amount of energy a photon has, and even other light properties that we could find out. So different colored light, if they are the same, or stuff like that. Okay, so question 8 was one that we were supposed to make up. I went with, what do you think could have made this project more efficient? So I think with the technology we had at the time, it was a great start. You always have to start somewhere. And an improvement could have been to the telescope that Romer was using and to the clock. It would have made a huge improvement on the exact time and when things were happening. Another thing could have helped if more scientists or universities would have accepted our discovery. So the main thing is getting people to back you up in an argument. If you have more people, then your idea would be more willing. Because Romer's discovery wasn't really used until almost 50 years later. And that's because they were testing and arguing whether it was actually accurate or not. I believe that is all the questions. Thank you.